Welcome to the latest edition of All's Caps with former Capitals defenseman Karl Alzer. I'm AP hockey writer Steve Wino. We're doing this on Sunday. Capitals beat the Panthers 6-1 in Game 3 to take a 2-1 lead in the first round series. Karl, we were watching the game. We all saw the same thing, a 5-1 loss in Game 2, a 6-1 win in Game 3. What was the difference?
I think a lot of it had to do with what the Panthers did. You know, in Game 2, they looked like the Panthers, like what we kind of expected from the regular season. They played with more confidence. They're snapping the puck around. They're making plays to guys, in open areas, winning some one-on-one stuff. And last game was the complete opposite. Like the Caps completely neutralized them. They made them look non-existent, like a very, very average hockey team, which they've been very above average this entire season. The Panthers have. So, they're just doing all the things right. They're playing playoff hockey. It's we've seen this so many times with the Capitals, it just unbelievable regular season teams, and then can't quite get to that full playoff hockey mode, or maybe runs into another team that's a little bit better in the playoff hockey mode. And it seems to be happening right now. So I have so much confidence in the Caps winning this series now because of the way that they're playing, that I don't know that the Panthers can get to a level high enough to beat them in a 7-game series now at this point.
Yeah, and that's what even Andrew Burnett, we'll hear from him later and talk about the Panthers thing, that the Capitals are playing playoff hockey and the Panthers haven't gotten there yet. The Panthers, if they play like they play in the regular season or like Game 2, they can beat anybody in the league. It's just there's something missing from what they're doing. Well, what are the Capitals doing to take the Panthers out of all that?
They have just people in the picture at all times, right? There's very few odd man rushes. The Capitals are usually always the ones with the fourth guy in the picture and the fifth guy in the picture on both sides of the puck. They're not making really bad turnovers. There's a couple here and there, and Florida gets some chances from it, or at least gets a little mini break, but the Caps are recovering really fast. They're not giving them anything like freebies. And that's a big difference. Whereas Florida is doing that for the Capitals in a lot of instances. Guys are throwing pucks around and making plays that, work in the regular season, but when everybody's that much more buttoned up in the playoffs, this doesn't happen. Right. So I just feel like that's the main thing is turnovers, freebies, and then team defense. I think I said this earlier when we talked about this, the Montreal Canadiens, when they went to the finals, it was team defense the entire way. It wasn't the most skilled team, but it was a team game. And that's the Caps right now, except they have a little bit more skill.
And let's give Ilya Samsonov a lot of credit. So that first goal was bad. You need your goalie to make the save on Huberdeau on the one-on-one. But that second shot of the game for the Panthers, he lets the goal in, and then he stops everything the rest of the way. And he told us yesterday, he's like, I was nervous the first few minutes, and then got a few saves under my belt and kind of calmed down. Give Peter Laviolette and Scott Murray credit. They made the right choice, and that was the good Sammy version that we saw of Samsonov.
Yeah, it was. And I was listening to I think it was a throwback interview of Laviolette talking about what they did when they won the cup in Carolina. He did the same thing, right? They had a goalie that they thought was their starter, and he gets a feeling and decides to switch it up, and then the rest is history. They end up winning. So these are the coaching decisions that they make, and they know what to do because they're in the room and they know the player and they know the vibe of the dressing room and what they have to do. And I think even just hearing Sammy's reaction in the media too, like saying he was nervous, but also how happy he was with people cheering for him. I think you just see some of the passion that he has, right? And you really want someone who cares in that. Not saying that Vitek doesn't, but it's obvious that Sammy really wants to do well and perform. And I think that's a great sign. And he has the ability to be a really great goalie.
Or am I overthinking it and saying, would Peter Laviolette go back to Vanecek? Like, are we like, I'm not really serious about it. I think Samsonov is the guy, but is there any part of you that thinks, well, Samsonov hasn't done that back-to-back games for a while. You know what you're going to get out of Vanecek. Is there anything to that, or am I crazy?
I'd be shocked, but I'm trying to remember what he did in Carolina. I don't know if he did that. Did he put
once Ward played, he played.
And that was it. Hey?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if he went back to Vanecek for next.
I would be as well.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess you never know. He could get injured and then, which we've seen.
You never want any injuries.
Yeah. Right? Knock on wood, but we've seen goalies come down with weird injuries, right? They're the most specific position that we have. So if they're not feeling 100%, then, and this is the playoffs for goalie injuries. So just, you never know.
It has been the playoff for goalie injuries. So we don't want anybody getting hurt, let alone Ilya Samsonov or Vitek Vanecek or anybody, not even Sergei Bobrovsky, you don't want anybody to get hurt at any point, at any time of year, really. When you hear that from an opposing coach, Karl, what are your thoughts on kind of what the approach is right now from Florida?
Well, it seems like he's doing one of these. Like he's
bowing down.
He's bowing down a little bit. It just goes to show you how important playoff experience is. You see some of the things that the Panthers are doing, like who is it? Duclair shoots the glove at Hathaway, whoever that. You can't,
you're just losing composure.
Yeah, those are things that they're dumb to do in the regular season, and they're just unthinkable to do in the postseason, right? Little mistakes like that. You just have to bite your tongue. You have to get over it. Like I look at the game, I was watching the Dallas Calgary game yesterday, and Jamie Benn, massive slew foot on Tanev. And in the regular season, in my opinion, that's a get up and slash Jamie Benn as hard as you possibly can, and start something. And Tanev just goes about his business, plays hard, doesn't even come after him for anything. And maybe he doesn't because he didn't feel it was as bad of a slew foot as it obviously looked from TV. But those are the things where you just have to be smarter, and the Caps know what to do. They have unbelievable leadership in that dressing room, wealth of experience, and even their coach, right? The coach knows exactly how this thing works. So I think that's where you get a leg up on a lot of teams is being able to just ride that line and not go over it. And they've had too many guys. Florida has had too many guys go over that line and put them in tough positions.
This being Mother's Day as we're recording this, I called my mom earlier and she's like, there's got to be something about that trophy, that President's Trophy that causes teams to lose. And you were on teams that lost in the playoffs in the second round. And I guess the first round in 2010 with that trophy. I don't think it's the trophy. To me, and correct me if I'm wrong, listen to Andrew Burnett, it's the adjustment from regular season hockey to playoff hockey is so drastic that the Panthers had so much success, to me, playing their way in the regular season, and they haven't been able to flip the switch to doing that. Like, is that a challenge for a team that has won all year, and almost it's been too easy for them all year to be able to kind of play a different style of hockey?
Yeah, it is. And there's very few teams. I think Tampa, I guess, maybe was one of the teams that's been able to.
They couldn't against Columbus, though. Remember in 2019.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But it's like, if you don't go through the regular season without any adversity, it's just one of those things, it's like, it's like a teenager that never has any adversity. Everything is great, super smart, aces everything. Then all of a sudden gets to university and it's like, holy smokes, like I got to work hard and I'm not the smartest kid anymore. And you have to find a way to either be better or you shrivel up a little bit. And that's the way it happens a lot. Like you're expecting, especially the first round, right? You're like, let's win this in 4 or 5 games max. Let's get out of here and on to the next round. And so when all of a sudden somebody punches back and they're a tougher opponent than you thought, then this is how it works, right? And so I don't know how anybody can underestimate the Washington Capitals when they have the players that they have and that experience, but it seems to have happened. And the game plan that the Caps have and the way that they're executing it is just perfect. It's absolutely perfect. You don't see teams win the playoffs 7-4 every single game. Like this playoffs has had a couple high scoring games, but you have to be able to grind it out. And they haven't had that yet.
No, they haven't. And look at practice for the Panthers, no changes, but I imagine the Panthers have to change something here, right? I mean, maybe you bring in Joe Thornton in. We were talking about right before we started here. Mackenzie Weegar has struggled and he gave up the puck to Alex Ovechkin on Kuznetsov's goal in game 1. He took the penalty that led to the Oshie power play goal in game 3. I think at some point the Panthers have to move him down and give Ekblad a new partner and figure something else out, right?
Yeah, it's hard because he's been such a big piece of the puzzle all season, and you don't want to, I'm sure they're still planning for the next round and a longer run, right? And I'm sure they don't want to hurt a player like that's confidence by moving him around. But at the same time, it's like you have to fight for your life now. And you're right, he hasn't been as good as he can be. And we were talking about this even before, like even a guy like Giroux, who has a lot of experience, been around for a long time, but there's turnovers, right? And there's not enough grit. Like Like that's what makes a guy like Crosby so good in the playoffs is he gets his level of grit to, it's just so high that he's willing to battle, and he doesn't do as many of those what I know Caps fans like to say is like the crybaby moves, right? In the playoffs, he just goes about his business and he plays hard, he plays smart, and Florida's had a few too many guys that have got caught up in things just not going their way. But you just, yeah, if they have a different pairing that they can do, maybe minimize some
I think Sherratt and Ekblad.
Yeah, you could put Sherratt in there, but yeah, minimize a few of his minutes, maybe some of the big minutes, and just let him feel comfortable out there against some better matchups. Then they got to try something at this point.
Yeah, Capitals change nothing, right? Like you go the same lineup.
Absolutely, everything the same. Let everybody flow the way that they've been going, and just I would, yeah, don't change anything, and it'll be up to the guys in the room now to continue to do what they're doing, continue to be smart and responsible. They know what the game plan is, and they're going to have to come out hard. I think Florida's going to probably throw everything at them, but it's one of those things where if they can hold on for the first period, maybe the Caps get a goal or even 0-0. That's a bit of a gut punch to the Florida Panthers if they don't see anything from a big push.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. When we come back on All's Caps, we'll get into that. Peter Laviolette did actually address that after the game about kind of moving on and focusing on Game 4. You mentioned this, Karl. Like you got to expect Florida to have a push. Like what do the Capitals need to do in Game 4 to kind of resist that push? And assuming Samsonov plays as well as he did in Game 3, that's a given. But what do the rest of the guys on the team need to do to kind of handle that?
I think you have to go, you go a step ahead here and think what does Florida need to do to have success, right? Where are they getting stopped right now? They're getting killed in the neutral zone. The Caps have been so good at slowing them down. They always have guys back. They're able to get to a lot of, there's broken plays at the blue line, and they're able to get the puck and turn it around and take possession, right? So what's Florida going to do? Are they going to start dumping the puck in? Because that's one of the only ways for them to get in right now. They're not able to stick handle through the neutral zone and come in with possession. And the Caps aren't giving them the odd man rushes. So they're probably gonna have to start dumping some pucks in, right? Which is where they want to create a little bit, more physicality and try and get some puck possession. So what do the Caps do? They got to make sure that they got a good setup for their breakout here. What are they going to do? Is it going to be, just quick rims to chips and then turn it around right away? Make sure that they're one and done on all Florida's chances. And that's probably where they're going to go, is they're going to think, what's Florida's adjustments going to be? And then we need to be ready for it right away. Right. And so if you can stymie them right off the bat here and don't allow them to have any of that zone time, then it just kills them, right? Players that want to have the puck, that are 100-point-a-year players, and they don't get to have that zone time. And every time they try and skate it in, there's just a line, the line of red guys just there to stop them. It's perfect. So figuring out having that plan, which I know that they will, for whatever Florida's adjustment is going to be, and then make sure they execute.
Well, that's the benefit of having Peter Laviolette, right? I mean, this is Andrew Brunette is coaching in his first playoff series. He's played in the NHL, but this is coaching his first series. Laviolette's been there before. This is where, to me, this was the biggest edge the Capitals had coming into the series.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, obviously Peter Laviolette's the guy that steers the ship there. But I'd love to give a shout out to Brett Leonhardt, who's one of their assistant coaches, does a lot of their video, a lot of their pre-scouts. This guy studies film like crazy. He's always looking for something. And the whole coaching staff is. I know Foz really well too. And he's always, same thing on the power play. He's always looking for a little edge, how to beat guys. And so that whole staff is going to be on point. This is what they do. They've seen everything, the way that they bounce back from losses, how they normally change their game, and they're ready for it. They have plan A, B, C, D. It's just the way that the playoffs work. And so like Peter Laviolette says, then it's on the guys to make sure that they're ready to go and ready for adjusting in game.
Big fan of Brett Leonhardt, who was a big help for my book, Odd Man In, Emergency Goalie book. You can pre-order it now on Amazon, out in October. Hopefully I'll be doing some signings with Brett in the fall. But another coach to give credit for, Scott O'Neill. Capitals are 9 for 9 on the penalty kill. And I know you hate talking about the penalty kill because you think it's a superstition thing. I remember this from a playoff series many years ago that you got pissed at my buddy Zach Boyer for even bringing up the penalty kill. But Scott O'Neill's done a great job of kind of having a penalty kill that's frustrated the Panthers, and Florida has gotten chances on the power play. But what's working so well in the penalty kill right now?
Well, just for a sec, I'll say that I'm not so worried about frustration or about superstitions anymore, since I have zero part.
You have not, yeah, no, back then you were.
Back then I was, yeah, because then it was in my head and I had to go out there and play on the PK. Now it's whatever. I know I got, because I had tweeted out that I said Caps in 5 and people are like, no, you can't jinx them. I'm like,
There's no jinxes.
You guys don't understand. We have nothing to do with the product on the ice besides
Correct.
how loud we cheer, right? So as long as you continue cheering, then things are going to be the same. So it's just pretty funny. But yeah, they're just like, it's the same thing with 5-on-5. Like, there's so few freebies out there, right? Guys are willing to block shots. Their lanes are really good right now, battling hard in front of the net.
Yep.
And that's the way it works. Like, I watched watching the Leafs series, and the first game that the Leafs played against Tampa, you know, it was their pre-scout. They did it to the Caps too, but it was their pre-scout, knowing that we need to pressure hard down far enough that the guy on the half wall needs to move the puck down, can't come back up, right? Because so many of these guys will pressure just to the top of the circles, and the half wall guys are so smart. They know that they just need to take a couple strides, and then eventually the player is going to peel off, right?
Well, that's what Nick's been doing. Nick, that's how the Caps power play has been working so well.
That's exactly it, right? You need to feel the pressure, and you need to wait until that person decides to finally peel off or gives you a lane. And so that's the same thing with the Caps, is figuring out, you know, where are their plays that they like to make, and make sure we're not giving them anything free backdoor. And obviously stuff happens, and there's rebounds and stuff that go into those areas, but you just need to make sure that you don't panic, right? You don't get running around, and you're going to be fine.
Is your standing prediction now Capitals in 5?
Right now it's Capitals in 5. Yeah. I think realistically it's Capitals in 6, but I would not be surprised at all if they went 5.
Look, if the Capitals win game 4, it's a stunning development around the league. I mean, if they go up 3-1 in this series, it is an absolute stunner. But look, it's entirely possible if they get the Panthers playing as scared as they've looked in parts of the series, then yes, the Capitals have the upper hand at this point. It's
a stunner to anybody who hasn't been watching the series. If you've just been seeing,
no, I would be stunned, because you expect Florida's response. That's more than anything else. Like, if they go down 3-1, they're done.
Yeah, they're done. But I don't think that it's been like, I can't, at this point, I can't see Florida being able to change their game enough to be able to get back into this series and completely dismantle the Caps, right? Like, for me, it's barring any sort of like goaltending or injury catastrophe, you know, at this point, I feel like the Caps are playing too good of hockey to just all of a sudden, you know, go away enough that Florida can get back into this series. So that's the way I feel. It's like, you know, there is momentum in these things, and when players are feeling good, they feel good, and there's just not a whole lot you can do about it.
That's the official endorsement from Karl on a Capitals in 5 or 6 in this series. Karl, good talking to you again, and we'll talk to everybody probably the morning after game 4, and we'll know whether the Capitals have a 3-1 series lead or 2-2. Happy Mother's Day to everyone in your life, Karl, and everyone who's listening.
Yes, happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Talk to you guys later this week. This is AP hockey writer Steve Wino with former Capitals defenseman Karl Alsner, the host of the Alls Caps podcast on Ampire Media.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to everybody that's tuning in to the Alls Caps podcast on the Ampire Media YouTube channel. We're going to try and get as much going as we can.
Well, we love doing the video stuff. I hope you also get a chance to listen to the John Keim report about the Washington Commanders. We're going to have John on at some point and do some cross promotion, but please stay tuned to everything that we have on Ampire Media on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.